Hey everybody, this is Dan for GemmyD on Cars. It is a Friday here in January. We just got some snow last night. We're supposed to be getting a lot more this weekend. I got off a little bit early at work today, so I wanted to do a video about today's topic. Now, I'm starting to do a rating system to rate all the cars that I reviewed, and honestly, it's because of my love of Doug DeMuro. Now, they say the most sincere form of flattery is imitation, so I'm sort of taking a page out of his book. I don't have the same categories as he does. I did a rundown of my favorite hot hatches last year, and I have 7 different categories that we will go over in depth in a little bit. But I'm gonna be using this rating system whenever I drive a car, and then when I do the drive video at the end of that, I'm gonna call it my GEMSCORE. I'm in no way saying that I'm not copying Doug DeMuro. He is the gold standard as far as YouTube car guys go. He's got like almost 2 million subscribers, so he's doing something right, and I love his Doug score. I used to do videos and post them on Twitter about what I thought this car should get compared to what he gave this car. So we're gonna go over the categories, and we're gonna rate my top 10 cars that I've rated with my new rating system called the GEMSCORE. So here we go. Alright, so we're going to go over the categories of the GEMSCORE, and then I'm going to rate the top 10 cars that I've done. Now, the categories are sort of what I look for in a car when I'm doing my reviews. You know, sound is number 1. If I keep looking at my computer, it's right here. I'm just glancing at my Excel document here. Okay, so we've got sound, styling, performance, price, comfort, interior, and fun factor. I mean, that sort of boils everything down to it. I always say, you know, cars I drive got to have the sound, the performance, and the looks. So that's like the first 3 categories. So I'm going to go over my top 10 cars. So here we go. Alright, number 10 is the C5 Corvette that I drove. This car has a score of 49 out of 70. Now there's a possible of 70 points, you know, 1 to 10, and there's 7 categories. So the Corvette got a 49. So as far as sound, this car got a 9. It sounds absolutely amazing. It's a 6. It's sort of okay. There's nothing really that special about it. You know, you've got the 4 round taillights, which is a quintessential Corvette styling Q. Performance is an 8. It's really fast. Price was a 7, which is pretty good. I mean, this car was like a 2003, I think. I can't even remember. You can get one of those for under 20,000 bucks, so that's pretty good. Interior was a 4. That's not good. It's just plastic. Fun factor was an 8, so that's pretty good. So that's a score of 49. Okay, in the number 9 spot, just reviewed this car last month, is the BMW M240. I absolutely love this car. This car got a score of 50 out of 70. Okay, for the sound for this car, I gave it a 7. Styling, I gave it a 7. It's a gorgeous car. It's the perfect size. Performance, I also gave it a 7. And price, I also gave it a 7. This that's pretty high if you're counting on a scale of 1 to 10. Comfort, I gave it an 8. You know, you could definitely use this car as your daily driver. Interior, I gave it a 6. It's nothing too fancy. It just has everything that you would want. Nothing really extra special or anything. Fun factor is an 8. That's pretty high. So this car got a 50. That is the BMW M240. Hey everybody, this is Dan for GemmyD on Cars, and what do we have today? Okay, also with 50 points, and number 8 on my GEMSCORE is the Tesla Model 3. Now, it's this car. I wanted to give it a score higher than 50, but you'll understand once I go over the categories. Now, the sound of this car, I gave it a 2, obviously because it doesn't really make a sound, so that is a big sort of deterrent on it, but it's an electric car, and that's what they have. They don't have any sound, so that is why I got this car a 2. Now, if this was anything else, and I gave it like a 5, this would definitely have been higher on the list. Styling, I gave it a 7. I think it's a unique looking car. I love the grill-less front bumper. I just love the clean look of that. Performance, I gave it an 8. I mean, you have instant torque. The performance was awesome. Price, I gave it a 7. I mean, $50,000 is a lot for a car, but when you consider all the technological advancements included in this car, I think that's pretty fair. Comfort was a 7. You've got nice space in the back, plus the main seats were comfortable. Interior, I gave it a 9. Now this might be sort of controversial because there's just that huge screen there, but it's just so futuristic, and no other car has an interior anywhere close to this, so that's sort of why I gave it a 9. Fun factor, I gave it a 10. I mean, this is one of the few cars that I drove that people were looking at me and smiling and say, hey, oh, that's a pretty cool car. So yeah, the Tesla Model 3 had a score of 50.
Really hard, and you know your car wants to dive down.
Yeah.
It is going to stop.
Now this.
Alright, number 7 on the GEMSCORE is the Maserati Levante S. Now, I did not personally drive this car, but I was a passenger in it, so I'm sort of going off of that. Now, the sound was a 9. I mean, I've said this many times. This car sounded absolutely fantastic. Styling, I gave it a 7. It's not really the greatest looking SUV, but it has some nice Italian design cues. Performance, I gave it an 8. You know, super fast. Price, I gave it a 5. These are expensive. There's no doubt about it. I think this car was something like $90,000. Comfort, I gave it a 7. Interior, I gave it a 7, and fun factor, I gave it a 7, which is all pretty, you know, pretty standard. So that also had a score of 50. Alright, in the number 6 spot is the Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT. This is owned by my buddy Will. His house is just a few houses down the way. Now, obviously, sound is there. 6.4 liter Hemi V8. I gave that a 9. Styling, gave it a 7. It's an okay. There's nothing really distinguishing about it, but it's a good-looking SUV. Performance, I gave it a 9. I mean, 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds. Hard to argue with that. Price, I gave it a 7. Considering the rivals and what you get for it, it's pretty good. You know, $60,000, $70,000. Comfort, I gave it a 7. You know, I've been in this car many times with Will. It's always been very comfortable. Interior, I gave it a 5. I mean, I don't know. It's just American build quality. There's nothing that special about it. I gave it a 5. Fun factor, I gave it an 8. So that's a total score of 52 for the Grand Cherokee SRT. So now we're into the top 5 of the GEMSCORE, and with 53 points, the Jaguar FType V6 convertible I drove. This is actually a while ago. This got 53 points. Sound, I gave this a 9. It's honestly one of the nicest sounding V6 engines I've ever heard. Styling, I gave it a 9. This was definitely a fresh take, you know, on the market, and Jaguar getting back into the sports car game. Performance, I gave it an 8. I mean, this thing was ridiculously fast. I enjoyed driving it very much. Price, I gave it a 5. They're a little pricey and sort of rare. I think this car was somewhere about $70,000, $75,000, so it's not exactly cheap. Comfort, I gave it a 7. I mean, it's only a 2-seater, but the seats were comfortable, so could have been higher if it had a little bit more space, but obviously it's a 2-door car. Interior, I gave it a 7. I mean, it's nice materials, and the little air vents flap up and down. Fun factor was an 8. I mean, this was an awesome sports car. So in 5th place was the Jaguar FType V6 convertible with 53 points. In 4th place is the 2015 BMW M3 that I drove. Absolutely love this car. We all know that I have a love for BMWs. 8 for sound. It's a little high, but I think it warrants it. Once you got on the wide open throttle, it sounded amazing. Styling, I gave it an 8. You've got the nice little upgrades from a regular 3 Series. Performance, I gave it an 8. Price, I gave it a 6. I mean, getting these used is still quite a bit of money, so that got a 6. Comfort was 7, interior was 7. You know, I love the carbon fiber that was around it, but it's about a 7. Fun factor was a 9. I mean, this is an M car, you know, twin turbo V6, 425 horsepower. I think it's fair giving it a 9. So that also had 53 points. So that is the BMW M3. All right, here we go. Oh, Alright, now we're into the top three. Now in third place with 55 points was the Mercedes-Benz CLS 550. This car was gorgeous. It sounded amazing. It had nice red leather. I drove this when I was down in Florida last year. Big, huge V8, over 400 horsepower. I gave this one a 9 for sound. It sounded absolutely amazing. We know Mercedes make some of the nicest sounding cars around. Styling, I gave it an 8. I've always loved the styling. You've got sort of the sloped roof line in the back. Performance, I gave it an 8. 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds. Price was a 6. I mean, it's a German luxury car. The price is going to be a little high. Comfort, I gave it an 8. I mean, those leather seats, the Designo leather was absolutely awesome. I love that part of this car. Interior, I gave it an 8, obviously for the red leather. Mercedes, fit and finish is second to none. Fun factor, I gave that an 8 for a total of 55 points. I absolutely love this Mercedes. Alright, number 2. I've talked about this car at length before, is the Subaru WRX STI, the brand new one, 2019. This one also got 55 points. The sound, I gave it a 6. It was okay, not great. Styling, I gave it an 8. Performance, I gave it an 8. The car was fast as hell. Price, I gave it an 8 because it's one of the cheaper cars for the segment, with the Focus RS and the Golf R and the Civic Type R. Now, comfort, I gave this car a 10, without a doubt a 10. This was probably the most comfortable car I drove last year, and if you're gonna have a car like this, you want the speed, the sound, and the comfort. By far the most comfortable car out of the group, and one of the most comfortable cars I've ever driven, which is kind of weird considering it's like a performance, hot hatch. Interior, I gave it an 8. Fun factor, I gave it a 7. Yeah, this car was awesome. So that is the second highest car that I've rated for my GEMSCORE, was the Subaru WRX STI. Now, in the number 1 spot, if you're not new to the channel, you'll know my love of this car. The number 1 car that I've rated for GemmyD on cars with the GEMSCORE is the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio with 57 points out of 70. This car was number 1 of my favorite moments from 2018, and it's hard to argue that this car is great. Now, with the twin-turbo V6, 505 horsepower, the sound was there. I gave it an 8. Styling, I gave it a 9. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous car. The one that I drove with the black and the black wheels and just the sort of sinister look it had, I think it deserves a 9. Performance, I gave it a 9. I mean, this car goes 0 to 60 in like 3.3. That's like supercar territory. Hard to argue with that. Price, I gave it a 5. I mean, this car is $90,000. It's a little bit cheaper than the competitors, but $90,000 for a mid-size performance SUV. Comfort, I gave it a 7. That's fair. Now, interior, 100%, I stand by this, I gave it a 10. Carbon fiber, red leather, metal shift paddles, red start button on the steering wheel, Italian heritage. It's perfect. If I was speccing a car, this car is pretty hard to beat. I understand there's a little bit of plastic on the interior. I don't care. Real carbon fiber and red leather is the way to my heart. So this definitely deserved a 10. Fun factor was a 9. Basically, it's a small SUV race car. It was fast as hell. I loved every second of it. A Condor almost hit the roof, so I avoided a disaster. So yeah, this is the number 1 car, 57 points out of 70 on the GEMSCORE. Alright, so this is the first video I've done with the GEMSCORE. Now, every car that I review after this video, I will start with the GEMSCORE. Now, I'll give you a little hint. The first car that I'm going to be rating that I did not rate on this list is the BMW X4 M40i, and I have a feeling, I have not tabulated what the scores or anything, but I have a feeling it's going to be pretty high. So stay tuned for that. Got a lot of cool stuff coming, so I look forward to doing the GEMSCORE for every car that I drive this year. And if you'd like, you need to leave me a comment when I drive these cars and tell me what you think the GEMSCORE should be, if you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that red subscribe button, and I look forward to driving lots of cool cars this year for you guys. So I'll see you in the next one. See ya.